Pot Noodle is a brand of instant noodle snack foods, available in a selection of flavors and varieties. This dehydrated food consists of white noodles, assorted dry vegetables and flavoring powder. It is prepared by adding boiling water, which after 2 to 3 minutes softens the noodles and dissolves the powdered sauce. The product is packaged in a plastic pot, from which the prepared noodles can be eaten. Many pots contain a sachet of sauce, such as soy sauce. Pot Noodle has been linked to lad culture, with its advertising and packaging being the source of some controversy. Instant noodles were originally developed in 1958 by Mama Fukuando as Cup Noodle. Golden Wonder launched the Pot Noodle brand in the United Kingdom in 1977. In July 1995, Best Foods, which produces Hellmann's mayonnaise, paid then owner Dalgety plc $280 million for its Golden Wonder Pot Noodle instant hot snacks manufacturing business. Best Foods, known as CPC International before 1997, was itself acquired by Unilever in June 2000. Unilever kept the Pot Noodle brand in its sole production factory, after it sold the rest of the Golden Wonder business in January 2006 to Tato. Golden Wonder later established another line of pot noodles called the Nation's Noodle, renamed Noodle Pot in 2016, in direct competition with their former brand. Pot noodles are manufactured in Crowspan, Maine, near Crumlin, Caerphilly, Wales, which became the topic of an advertising campaign of 2006, showing fictitious pot noodle mines in Wales. The factory typically produces 175 million pots annually. The public perception of the product was often that it was of a low quality, and only eaten as a result of laziness or poverty. Around 2006, pot noodles recipe was changed to make the product healthier. This mostly involved cutting down on the amount of salt in the product. A GDI variant, prepared in a microwave instead of adding boiling water, was introduced in the end of the 2000s and was the first pot noodle to contain real meat. In 2007, the brand changed their logo. Pot Noodle has often given promotional gifts away, including a horn and a spinning fork. During the 2008 Edinburgh Festival Fringe, Unilever sponsored a musical directed by David Sant and created by advertising agency Mother, set in a pot noodle factory. All non-GDI pot noodles are suitable for vegetarians, but not for vegans. The Pot Noodle brand has been involved in a number of controversial advertising campaigns. In August 2002, a series of television adverts that described Pot Noodle as the slag of all snacks was withdrawn after complaints to the Independent Television Commission. The related poster campaign, revolving around the hot noodle range with a tagline of "Hurt Me, you slag," was withdrawn by Unilever after the Advertising Standards Authority, ASA, upheld complaints that the tone could be interpreted as condoning violence. In May 2005, the Advertising Standards Authority received 620 complaints about a series of advertisements featuring a man with a large brass horn in his trousers, with the suggestive slogan, "Have you got the pot noodle horn?" Some of the complaints described them as tasteless and offensive. The 3 advertisements had been already approved for restricted times, primarily after the 9 p.m. watershed. The ASA did not uphold the complaints. While it accepted the campaign was a little crude, they deemed it harmless and said that the timing restriction was appropriate. Pot Noodle has been linked to lad culture. Samuel Fishlock of the Evening Standard dubbed it traditionally laddie. Golden Wonder introduced a similar convenience food, pot rice, in the beginning of the 1980s. Pot rice was made from dehydrated rice, wheat protein, vegetables, and flavorings, sold in a plastic pot. Pot rice was later manufactured by Unilever in Norway when the Pot Noodle brand went through a series of acquisitions and takeovers in the 1990s. Pot Noodle was a variation on the typical pot noodle, consisting of thinner, ramen-like noodles and available on 3 Asian-themed flavors. Launched in 2003, pot rice was discontinued in the beginning of the 2000s. Pot rice flavors have included chicken risotto, chicken curry, beef and tomato, savory beef and cod and parsley. Pot rice received a limited relaunch in 2018. Pot mash was a similar branded mashed potato snack, sold by the makers of Pot Noodle in the United Kingdom and Ireland in the end of the 1990s. Pot casserole, consisting of dried vegetables and soy protein, was introduced during the 1980s, but discontinued before the turn of the century. Pot pasta and pot spaghetti combined dried pasta pieces with a sachet of Parmesan cheese, and was available for some time in the 1990s. However, in 2017, pot pasta was relaunched. Pot sweet was a dessert range available in 4 varieties, introduced in the mid-1980s, and discontinued shortly afterwards. In 2020, pot noodles packets came called Lost the Pot Noodle with the first 3 flavors: curry, roast chicken, and sweet chili.